I know why you're here. A lot of you are wondering how to get into the Trails series, and all these videos explaining to you how to start the series are so long. So I just wanted to give you my humble opinion on a short video on where to start. So you might be wondering, well, I got a job, I've got a job, maybe I've got kid, I've got responsibilities, I gotta take showers, I gotta go to bed. Is this game good for me? My answer to you would be yes. So these good events and storytellings that happen where they hook you constantly, meaning that there is no long time period with nothing to do or nothing happening story-wise. Sure, there are some blender moments than others, but they will always have somewhat of your attention. There's always something to think about or be doing that is going to be rather important. A big important question to start with is there a wrong way to play this series? And the answer is yes. I have played it the wrong way. And don't get me wrong, it's still one of my favorite series. You can still very much appreciate the game if you play it not at the same order as everybody else or the recommended order. There's still plenty of fun to be had, but to enjoy the story to its fullest, I would recommend to go in this order. First off, we start with Trails in the Sky. That's right, we're gonna start with the old Windows XP game that's available on Steam. I'm not sponsored, by the way. It's a wonderful base to start with. All the start of the pillar of this huge storyline and character development is so well built and starts from this very point. Now, you can skip and go to the other games, but you won't get the full depth of what Trails is. The reason why I recommend you start with Trails in the Sky is that, in my opinion, it's the lesser one of the bunch. Don't get me wrong, Trails in the Sky is not a bad game, not at all. In fact, the storytelling of this game is almost the exact same for the entire Trails series. It's super interesting, but one very important point that we'll make. If you're able to get through this game and have a great time, or have a good time, it only goes up from there. And not only that, but a lot of the future story building is based around this game. So it only builds from there. It's not like any other games where it just goes to the side and doesn't talk about it or barely talks about it. No. Everything you do in Trails in the Sky has a huge impact on a lot of things that happens behind the scenes or in future games of Trails. And speaking of Trails in the Sky, you have to play the first and the second game. You'll understand why at the end of the first game. But the third game is kind of optional. I would recommend it for anybody who loves character building. It has some of the best character building in all of Trails, in my humble opinion. So the next point is where it gets confusing, right? Because on Reddit or any forum, you might see that it branches in path. Because the next games that happen kind of happen at the same time, so you're gonna be somewhat spoiled. I'd say you're being teased. Because trust me, you don't get enough information to fully understand what's happening behind the scenes. In my humble opinion, after having played all the available North American games, I will say that you should start with Trails from Zero. Now, I know a lot of people put you into Cold Steel and ask you to go back to Trails from Zero. In my humble opinion, from having played both games, I will say this. Both these games have things that you're going to learn about the other game, right? They're rather the same, but I will say, in all fairness, that the plot points that you learn in Zero are a bit more revealing to Cold Steel than the opposite. So then why am I recommending you to go for Zero instead of Cold Steel? Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a normal person. And when you give me quality of life, I get used to it. There is a lot of quality of life available in Trails of Cold Steel that does not exist in Trails of Azure or Trails from Zero. So I personally started with Cold Steel, and it was so hard afterwards to go back to the old system where major things change in the building system of your character, which is, the number one feature of the combat of the game. So simply for a normal gamer that, once you get hooked or get used to something, you don't want to lose it all, I would recommend to go that way. Plus, it's the same order as the game came out. So trust me, if I could go back in the past, and here's the final timeline, I'd start with Trails in the Sky. Trails in the Sky second chapter. The third one is missable if you want. If you're into character building, I would highly recommend you either play the game or look into what happens in this game. Afterwards, I'd go with Trails from Zero and Trails from Azure. And finally, I'd go with Trails of Cold Steel 1 to 4. And that is the way I would play this game. So as a normal person who just wants to enjoy the game and mostly enjoy the story, this is how I would do it. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you subscribe. Let me know in the comments if there's anything else you'd like to know about. Maybe, I have some knowledge about it that I can share with you guys. We'll all see in due time. But in the meantime, take care of yourself and see you in the next video.